Welcome back to my knowledge share channel. Learn with me. Today we are going to continue on the same topic, cloud platform integration. In that we will be talking about the JMS adapter. JMS is a kind of a queue in Java messaging service. That queue will hold the messages, and later CPI will allow us to pick the messages one by one and process it. Okay. Effectively, JMS is a kind of asynchronous communication, right? And then it's a kind of a messaging queue that you will keep the messages in queue and later it will be processed. And mainly it will be used in kind of a error handling situations. Okay. You can see this picture, the iFlow, how we are going to keep the messages in the JMS queue and later it will be processed. Before that, let me explain one scenario. This is the case where we will be using the JMS queue. External system will send us in a message, which is a XML file or a JSON file, whatever the case. Then we will validate. This is optional whether you are going to validate or thing, and the same message will be stored in a message queue, JMS queue, right? Then so this adapter, JMS adapter, is called a receiver adapter that will receive the message to the queue. Same way, in another integration process will keep on listening to the queue. As and when the message arrives in the queue, that will pick up and process it using the another adapter called a JMS sender adapter. So CPI provides us two kind of adapter. One is a JMS receiver adapter that will receive the messages from the external system, hold it for some time, and the sender adapter will read the message from the message queue and reprocess it. Okay, so you can see in this picture the iFlow 1 receives the message and stored in the message queue, and the iFlow B will read the message from the JMS queue and process it and send it to the destination. Okay, now so what does it means? You have a asynchronous communication. That means you are decoupling the sender altogether and keep the message in a queue and process it at your own time. Secondly, messages are in a queue, first in first out format. And the third thing is very important thing, the JMS queue handling in CPI mainly we will be using at the time of error handling. Meaning when an iFlow receives a message from the sender and somehow it has some problem, the message does not reach the destination, then the message will be lying inside the queue for the retry. Okay, so there is another integration process which will look into the JMS queue and retrieve those failed messages. This is what the JMS queue will be used in the CPI. Okay, now we will go to the iFlow, and I will create one in iFlow and I will show you how we are going to handle the JMS queue effectively in terms of error handling. Okay, we will go to BTP and we will start the iFlow again. Okay, I am now inside the BTP. Before going to the iFlow, I will show you the monitoring section where the queues you can see that and review it. Okay, in the monitoring part, the BTP, in the monitoring part, there is a section called manage stores, right? In the manage stores you have a tile called message queues. In that message queues the JMS queues are maintained, right? So in our case we are going to use the JMS 7 queue. Right now it does not have any messages inside it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in our thing, I'm going to use three things in this place. One is the message queue, other one is the number range, because for each, and other one is the data store. Okay, that means when I am receiving a message from the external system, I will keep that in a message queue if it has any error. Okay, then I will reprocess it at a regular interval, maybe every 3 minutes or 2 minutes, and finally it has to go to the data store. The data store is having another called JMS 7 queue. Okay, this is the place. This is the two things we have seen it. One is a message queue and a data store. But in a data store, for every message you need to have an ID. For that I need one number range. This number range 1 I am going to use it. Okay, see, the next value for ID will be 31. So whenever a new message is created, the item 31 will be created. Okay, now you got an idea what way I are going to do it. I repeat, I have a message queue JMS 7, I have a data store JMS 7, and for the message ID uniqueness I maintain one number range. Having this in a background, let us go to the iFlow. Okay, I already created one iFlow, so that I don't want to make too much time on the video, so I will explain what this iFlow does it. This is my initial iFlow, right? The sender is sending in a message, sender is started, then I have one request reply connecting to the external system. This is my external system, api.cointest.com. From that I will receive some JSON output. That JSON output is supposed to go to the data store here, right? But for the error handling purpose, I put JMS in between it. If at all any error, then it will reside in JMS, otherwise it will directly go to the data store. So we are focusing on a JMS now, so I created like this. So getting a JSON from this request reply, this is a JMS receiver adapter, right? The JMS receiver adapter, these are all the properties we are going to maintain. My queue name will be JMS 7, and the retention threshold for alerting, that is in 2 days. If the messages are not fetched within this period, an alert will be raised. So it means that if you are not reprocessing this message anyhow, then an alert message will come to you on every 2 days. And this is straightforward. At maximum you can maintain the message in a JMS queue for a period of 30 days. Okay, and the compress message, if you want to compress it, if you want to encrypt it, all these things you can do it here. Right now I kept it blank. That's all. So initial iFlow process will do like this. It will go and connect to the external system, get the JSON file and put it in the JMS queue. If there is no error, immediately this iFlow process will start again, which will be listening to this queue and every minute, every second. As and when a message comes in here, it will process it and write it into the data store, right? For a detail about a data store, I have another video. You can refer that how we can use the data store to keep your messages. So it is like the same thing. they say JMS queue. Just for a naming purpose, I put receiver and sender, JMS 7 or JMS 7S. So this iFlow process will start looking into this queue and read the messages one by one. So this is the another property for JMS sender adapter. From there, it will tell you from which queue I should read it. JMS 7, right? Because here we maintain JMS 7 here. So I have to read it from the same queue, JMS 7. And this is a concurrent process, parallel process. How much you want to do it, that you can maintain it. Effectively first in first out, so I will put it as one by one. So this is the retry amount. Suppose if there is any failed messages lying in this queue, it will retry those messages every 3 minutes. That is the thing. If you want to put it in every 5 minutes, you can put it. If every 1 minute you want to try it, do it. So that depends on your infrastructure. Suppose if there is a network error, then you assume that network error will be solved in every 30 minutes. Then you can put 30 minutes here. So these parameters are straightforward, but I use as default. So reading from a JMS Q7, concurrent process is 1 and retry after every 3 minutes. Right? It will retry 3 minutes. In the content modifier, what I did is just for a queue identifier, I created one header variable, doc number, which will read from the number range. Next available number range, it will give 1 2 3 4 5 like this. That ID will be used here in the data store. Assume that everything goes fine. Now the message will come here, get an ID, write into the data store. Is the right part, the right message processing. So data store name also I gave it as a JMS 7. So ID, this is the ID, right? This is the ID reading from a parameter header.docInfo. The header.docInfo will come from the content modifier, right? That's all. These are another properties for a threshold properties for a data store. That also kind of a queue. So you can maintain it for a maximum of 30 days and alerting period as a 2 days. It is similar to JMS, but the purpose is different. JMS we will be using it mainly for error handling, and data store we will do it for another asynchronous process. Okay, this is the setup. This integration process you can create it like from here, this place. You can create an integration process and do it here. I assume that this creating of a process, creating a palette, you will be knowing that. Okay, that's it. Now this is the iFlow. This iFlow I call it as main iFlow. I call it as /dj. So I will be executing this iFlow from my Postman. So once I Postman executed, the JSON file will be coming, and JSON file initially it will come to JMS queue. Immediately this process, the second process, will trigger, read the queue from the JMS and get the next available number and write it to the data store. Okay, now I will execute and we will see that. So as of now we will execute and see that now. So let me go to monitoring section. So if I go to message queue, the JMS queue will have some entry if at all any error. Otherwise my data store will have the another entry. Okay, now the number range is fully set up, so there will not be any error right now. There will not be. So next number range is 31. So next message ID will be 31 for us. next message ID will be 31 for us. In the data store I will get message ID 31, and in the data store the JMS 7 queue will have the total number as 5, right? That we will see it. Then we will simulate I will alter the number range and try to simulate the error part. Okay, now we will go to Postman. So this I am going to execute it, send it. So this went successfully. Now I will go back to my number range. I will go to message queue. Message queue is still 0 because there is no error in that queue. Immediately it come to this JMS 7 and it's supposed to go to the data store. Let us go to data store and see it. Data store, see, previously it was 4, now it has come 5. See, the 31 is created here, right? So when you go back to my iFlow, what happens is this picked up, JSON data is coming to the JMS queue, no error. Immediately it processed, content modifier get the another number and write into the data store, went smoothly. So this queue become empty. Now I am going to simulate an error in the number range, so that this place it will be failed. It cannot write the message into the data store, so the message will be lying in JMS queue as a failed message. That we will simulate and see it. For the simulation purpose, what I am going to do is I am going to number range, see next, if everything is good, it should be 32. What I am doing is I am go back to 30. Okay, now if I try to maybe I will make it 31. Make it 31. So 31 is already existing, right? Let me go to data store and verify it. So 30 and 31 is there, so it should give me error now. Okay, now I will go back. Now I will again execute it. So this is okay. Now I will go back, go to monitoring. Now I will see the message queue. See, now JMS 7 is 1, right? So what it says, it's failed now. Okay, if I see the failed reason, what it says, duplicate entry in exception, an entry with ID 31 does already existing in the data store. Correct? Okay, now this will be keep on trying as per my JMS configuration. This will be trying every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes it will be trying, right? So what we'll do is we will within 3 minutes we will go and correct that number range. So what I will go back, I will go to number range, I will edit it. Now I will make it 35. Okay, now if I go to still it is there. Now let us see after 3 minutes, maybe Now it is 9:30, 9:27. Let us see after 9:30 and come back. See, this queue will become 0, and in the data store it will be 6, right? We'll wait for it and see that. Okay, now 3 minutes are over. Let us go and monitor the queue now. So I'm going to message queue. See, now the JMS 7 has become 0. That means it is reprocessed. So I will go back to my data store. So it becomes 6 now. Okay. In data store it is another issue. You can see my another video how I'm handling the data store. Now the data store is another kind of a asynchronous queue. Now the messages are lying in this queue for further processing, right? Okay, now you are clear about what is the JMS queue, and how we are going to handle it, right? What we did effectively is iFlow A is getting a data and store in a JMS queue, and the iFlow B will listen to that JMS queue. As and when the message arrives, it processes it. If anything is failed, the message will be lying in the queue as a failed status. Okay, and this iFlow B will be keep on retrying it at the regular interval we specified. In our case, we specified as 3 minutes, until it successfully reaches the recipient. In our case, the recipient is a data store. Okay, hope you can understand what is JMS queue and everything. This is the iFlow. I used it. So the main part is this JMS adapter part, receiver adapter. Receiver adapter will specify the queue name and the retention period, and the sender adapter, that means reading the message queue, that will have the queue name from where you have to pick it up at concurrent process and at retrial. If the message is failed again, then how many minutes it has to wait for retry. Okay, I hope you can get my point now. So this is how the JMS queue works in CPI. You can use this JMS queue for your error handling situations. In fact, every integration process will have this JMS queue concept to keep your messages for the retry options. Unless until your sender can resend the same message, you have to use the JMS queue for the error handling purpose. Okay, hope this session is helpful for you, and please do comment on your questions and remarks. I will be very happy to answer you back. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you so much.